Welcome to Looking Through the Glass. This is Giselle, and we have Sela, and we have Kathryn Eipl. I said that right, right?
You did. Good
Okay,
job.
because
Yeah.
I keep going back and forth
It's
between
a
Eipl and
strange
Eipl.
last name. Yeah. Well, with the E in front, people want to pronounce the E, but it's actually the E is silent, even though it's in the front. So it's Eipel.
Okay.
Yeah, so
um,
you did it right.
I didn't even check before we started recording. But we have Kathryn Eipl, and she is a nurse practitioner that um, is
Holistic
homeopathic.
nurse
Yeah,
practitioner.
holistic. I was gonna say homeopathic. My brain. And I'm gonna butcher this. I'm gonna hand it off to her.
You were doing so well, Giselle. Thank you for having me on your show. I very much appreciate it. And so I think what you were trying to say is I'm a holistic practitioner and I work as a Reiki master, sound therapist, and also a emotional strategist support coach. So helping people regulate their emotions first, learning how to identify them because we weren't necessarily taught about emotions. There's maybe about like 5 to 8 emotions that people are like, yeah, these are emotions. I'm like, there's so many more variants of emotions aside from the standard.
I
I'm
didn't
one of
even
those
think of it that
people.
way.
I am one of those people that I'm still learning how to like recognize. I'm still learning how to even recognize that I have an emotion. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's times that I still like, okay, I have to really pay attention. Okay, my body had a reaction. That means that there was an emotion. There's something going on. I'm still in that era. So,
But being in that era is great because that's already awareness of learning that your body's giving you cues, right? Because
hmm
the way most people are raised, we aren't taught, like, okay, well, how does your body feel? What is coming up for you when you are being told no? Like, we don't have those conversations really
no,
with
we
No.
were told to shut
children,
up and deal with it.
right? Yeah, it's like, you have a problem, stop crying, go sit in the corner. Great. That doesn't help me learn how to regulate my body. Now I'm just afraid to express these emotions, right?
Can
So
I
from
give
an
another one?
early
I want to give you something to cry about.
Yeah,
That
I
one.
did hear that one too. What are you crying about? There's nothing for you to cry about. I'll give you something to cry about. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. That was the famous one in my life, and I'm sure I used it on her too. Not knowing before the knowing any better, before my journey of, hey, I need to change the way I do things. But I'm sure I'm quite sure I used it. If you want me to give you something to cry about, it was a tactic that was used on me, and that's part of the issue is that we're just using tactics that our parents used and not understanding what it's actually doing.
100%, right? Like we are just using what we know and what has been used to us. So it wasn't until I was in my like mid to late 20s where I really started to connect with my own emotions because I was one of those people where I was just like, nope, I don't have emotions because I have learned that when I express them, bad things happen. So
Yeah.
I don't want to get yelled at. I don't want to get reprimanded in any sort of way. So I'm fine. I'm totally fine. My life is falling apart and I'm fine. It's fine. I'm depressed,
hmm
but it's fine. I'm totally fine.
Exact.
Yep.
That is the best way that you explain it. No, everything's shattering, and you just, I'm fine. Nope, I'm perfectly fine. I can do this. You know. Uh-oh, you stopped recording. Yeah. All right. Back from technical difficulties.
um, Yeah, so as I was saying, it's like typically when you say fine, that doesn't mean that you're actually fine, right? That's just the only word that you can think of to avoid further questioning or people poking, right? Which is what you want to avoid because you yourself can't articulate how you're feeling or your emotions. You just know that, like, you're feeling off, something's not right. And so, how do you explain that? And if you're depressed or uh, going through anxiety, some of those thoughts can be really dark. So you automatically
Mhm.
don't want to share them right away. So you're just like, if I say fine, people will go away and believe that I'm fine. I'm fine. Right?
That is so true.
Yes. Yes.
We
That,
commonly go,
that's,
I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, and there, when I look back compared to how open I am today,
Mm-hmm.
to how closed I was like during my active addiction and the process that I had to go through to get this open was something that I had to do in order to heal, in order to stop the addiction. Opening up, talking about it, being open and saying, hey, everybody, this is where I'm at, and letting others know because I hit it hard as I possibly could, but letting others know and finally opening up and just going, okay, this is where I'm at, and taking inventory of me and being as honest as I possibly could with myself so that I'm no longer being dishonest with the people around me and letting him know I'm not okay. I am addicted to drugs. I need help and I need to figure out how to get off of this stuff, and doing that really just taking those steps and actually talking really like the smallest step, but very scary, very, very scary for me, um, changed the trajectory of everything. Like it completely changed everything where now I'm, almost 2 years clean and I can talk about anything, you know?
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Because it's not easy going from a place where you kept things to yourself, thinking that you were protecting yourself, but a lot of people who go through addictions, myself included, like it's not the addiction itself that's the issue. It's the underlying thing that we are choosing to avoid, to not talk about, to not look at, that has caused the addiction because we are
Absolutely.
seeking something else to take, to fill that void,
Vo-
right? To
Mhm.
yeah.
numb us.
Yes.
And in order to get through that addiction, you do need to start talking about whatever that thing is. Because when I realized that, and I slowly, like, I stopped, it was just like slowly more and more memories and thoughts and things about my past that I had forgotten about came in. And I would just be in tears when those things would come in. I'm like, well, I guess this is why I was avoiding it, but it feels so
Yeah.
good to let it out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
even though
I
I'm
would do the
Oh
trying,
yeah.
yeah.
same thing, the same exact words. Now I understand why I did them so much.
I know,
Like,
I was like, this is uncomfortable, but beautiful that it's coming out.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh, now I completely understand why I couldn't deal with them before. It was like I started to understand why I was doing the drugs, not not looking at myself as, oh, shame, shame, because I was the cause of a lot of my own traumas just because of the pure fact that I was addicted to something. Just that
Mhm.
thought of it, I shamed myself so hard and I was so mean to myself just because I had an addiction. Like now I look at it, I'm like, wow, that doesn't make any sense at all. But that's what we do to ourselves. And that's how we stay there. That's what keeps us there.
Yes, we're oftentimes we are our toughest critic, right? Because
Mhm.
even though
Yes.
we are choosing to make the decision to reach for whatever the substance is,
Or
Yeah,
non-substance, because there's the non-substance as well.
that's true. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, because you can be addicted to other things as well. So, whatever it is that you're leaning in towards that addiction and reaching for it, uh, there's you like as you're doing it, you most likely have the thought of, I shouldn't be doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, if
Hmm.
everyone found out that I was doing this, how mad would they be? And that's always their first thought is like, how mad would everyone else be? And then you're like, I'm mad at me. I don't want to do that to people. So then it just compiles on itself, and you have all of this self shame, self guilt, self loathing. It feels impossible to love yourself or to think that you're a good person. And you probably are a good person who's just struggling and having a hard time and don't know how to go through it or how to manage it other than what you're what you're doing.
The thing where I can see where nobody wants to come out about the addiction is the the once again the shame, because other people still will continuously put shame on them.
Mhm.
And then as they're trying to, like, when people go into recovery and they're trying to stay in recovery, that shame comes back because they're trying to make amends, and some people are harboring a animosity because they fell
Mhm.
into because somebody they love fell into an addiction. And that's something that I've seen too, on because there's so many things, and we have to learn how to forgive them. Don't forget, but we can forgive them for what they've done and hold them accountable, in the future.
Absolutely, right? Because it's unfortunately addictions have such a stigma in our society and in several different cultures. So when someone hears, like, oh, so and so has an addiction, like right away, there's already like a preconceived narrative that they're forming, right?
Hmm.
Yep.
And the common thing is people will just be like, oh, well, if you're addicted, just like stop doing it. And you're like, great advice. Thank you so
So
much for
that
that.
was so helpful. Wow,
I
why didn't
didn't,
I think of that?
right?
I should
And
have thought of that all on my own. I just, wow. Yeah, I understand.
mhm. And what happens is it's much harder than that because not only is it a psychological thing of why the addiction has developed, it has now also become hardwired response in the body physiologically because you have now conditioned your body to know that when you're doing this thing, you will get a dopamine hit. So your body is now just becoming excited about you even planning to do this addiction or partake in it, right? So then it becomes the thrill of like, okay, well, where am I going to go? Who am I going to hang out with people? Am I going to go alone? Like your body starts to um, in a sense, get addicted to the environment and the routine of the addiction.
Yes.
Yes.
So then it's,
Absolutely the routine. Yes.
which makes it so much harder to quit or to
Mm-hmm.
just stop doing because it is now not only do you have it in your head, it's now gone into your body. And so both of them are rooting for this addiction. So you really have to want to change and face both of those, right? Cuz you can repattern your thoughts and you can reprogram your body by doing it long enough, right? It's
Yeah.
just getting to the point of truly wanting it for yourself.
And staying in the, because when you live in a world of chaos for so long, you when you go into the world of silence and peace and healing and you start to do that, feels so uncomfortable. It can throw you into a oh my God, this is unsafe for me. You could throw yourself in your body's like, no, this isn't normal. This isn't right. That I need to get out of here. And I know that that's
Hmm.
something that I have personally done to myself is once I started experiencing peace and stuff, I was so used to chaos and negativity and just toxicity that when I didn't have that around me, I was not happy and I was very uncomfortable and I had to leave that situation to go back to chaos.
Right. Yeah. And it's like building muscle strength, right? Because when you first do it, it is going to feel uncomfortable. And also, everyone has this belief that healing is all sunshines, rainbows, happiness. You've just crossed over into the land of puppies and kitties and unicorns. And as much as it would be wonderful that if that were true, it is not, because part of healing is facing your darkness. It's facing your shadows. It's being able to look them in the face, so to speak, and understand where they were coming from. And then also choose to be like, I see where it was a defense mechanism for you, and in a sense, some sort of protection at the beginning. And now it's time for me to take the reins and move past it, right?
Yes.
And it's letting go of that guilt or shame that you have around your own addiction and really just focusing on yourself. And there might be times because it's so uncomfortable that you put yourself back into that chaos, right? Because that's familiar for your nervous system. So in a sense, your nervous system is at a place where it
Almost
feels
regulated there.
right. So once you're adjusting to a whole new patterning for your nervous system, it's almost like you kind of take your time easing into it, right? And then you can go a little bit longer before you have to go back to the chaos. And then the next time you move out of the chaos a little bit faster, and then you can stay in the healing zone for a little bit longer, right? And that's another thing that when relapses happen, people are always, again, with that stigma of like, ah, you weren't strong enough. You couldn't do it. And it's like healing is a spiral.
Oh,
It is
yes.
going to
Yeah,
take time, right? It's not a true, straight, linear projection. There's going to be moments where we are having great days, and then there are going to be moments where we're in a dark space. And maybe we choose to return to chaos for a little bit, or maybe we sit in that and then keep going through. But as long as we continue to return to our healing, that's the triumph that should be celebrated, right?
absolutely.
Because
Yes. Because and I tell people all the time, relapse is part of the journey. It is a
mhm,
journey, healing recovery, because I look at recovery as healing. That's what it
mhm,
truly is, because you have to recover from surgeries, you have to recover from physical illnesses, you have to recover. This is the same exact thing when you're talking about substance use
100%.
or addiction. It is recovery, it is the same thing. You have to be nice to yourself and give yourself that grace and understand that, hey, some days in rehabilitation, when you're trying to say you got a knee replacement, some days that knee replacement, that knee is going to bend better than other days. The same
Mhm.
thing is in your substance abuse or your addiction recovery. Some days you're just going to flow and it's going to be great, and then other days you're in that trench and it only takes a snap of a finger, and there may not be any rhyme or reason that you're able to recognize, but you're just there. And that's where I fell into a lot of problems, or a lot of, like, I was just reading, when you came on, like, I was reading, I was like, I hope you didn't hear too much of it, because of the shame that I felt, because I was like, wow, I was in that dark place, but I shouldn't have been. When I was sharing it with her and I was laughing, and we were laughing about it. I'm like, man, oh man, like, I was really having a self-loathing moment, but it wasn't. It wasn't, it may have been, it may look that way on to me now, but that's because I wasn't in that moment. And in that moment, I needed love. I needed being
Mhm.
held. I needed time to be heard, and I needed that to be let out, you know. And so, like, even in those times, like you were saying, I love when I find those notes, you know, like I can see, wow, the growth. Even when I go back into my dark chaos moments, the chaos is nowhere near as chaotic as it was the last time I went back. You know,
Right.
that the amount of chaos is I'm able to lessen each time when I do end up going back there because I am only human.
Mhm. Right. And that's also part of the reason why, we're human. We're here to experience the vast array of emotions, right? So, in order to know what happiness is, yes, we do need to experience what a dark depression is, right? So, if we
Hmm.
experience one emotion like joy, then we do need to understand what the opposite is. Because if we don't, then we don't actually truly have a concept of what joy is. Um, and I love what you were sharing about the journaling because that is something that you are now able to look back on and, in a sense, like commend yourself for because you're recognizing that those moments of chaos, those dark uh, emotions, are becoming smaller and less frequent. And you're also creating a space for you to express them,
Mhm.
right? Like instead of going off or yelling at somebody, you chose to write stuff down, get those emotions out, and you held that space for yourself. And I'm sure maybe in the moment that didn't feel empowering, but maybe rereading them, you're like, wow, I had the forethought to sit down and like do something about this. Like I took care of myself there.
It's hearing,
I love the way you put that up. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead,
I
Giselle.
like I like that I get to hear the healing and see the healing with her too, because I have
Hmm.
seen her from the darkest moments of her life. You know, I may not have been there mentally, but I've seen them from the outside, from an outside perspective. And, and then seeing where she is now, her being able to read that and not feel shameful towards me to read it to me, because I somehow ended up part of that group in that
Yeah,
note, but
I don't know why.
I
Because I
ended up
was
in
like,
that note.
all I have is looking through the glass, and I share that shit too. I was like,
And I'm sitting
but
here
like
going,
in the
okay.
moment, yeah, I was like, I don't understand. But in the moment, I was just having that. I like right now, I didn't read all of it, so I don't know. But I do understand. Like where now it's like I can take that and I use my, my other coping mechanism, which is dark humor, and we just laugh about it. But like, and it's just kind of, it's great to be able to do that, to be in the position, be in the place where, okay, yeah, I still feel a little ashamed about things. And yeah, some things might
Hmm.
be a little scary or, um, unnerving for me to reveal because of it, but like in this journey of healing and recovery and looking through the glass and doing everything that Giselle and I have been doing has really brought me into this space of no, it needs to be out there. I need to discuss it. I need to talk about it. There's such a need for it, whereas before it was like, no, I need to shut up. I need to shut up.
Hmm.
I needed to be quiet. I need to hold this in. I need to hide this because this isn't for anybody else to see. Whereas now I'm like, no, this is for everybody to see. Everybody needs to see it.
And I'm sure there's that sense of that judgment, right? Of wanting to hold that in because okay, people are going to judge me. There's a stigma to emotions. We weren't taught about emotions, how to regulate our nervous system. So when it comes to sharing darker or sadder thoughts with people, we're like, oh, I'm burdening them. And
Mhm.
there is a way to
Still
go
does that.
about it and like check, right? And check in.
I will
Healing's
call
a
her out.
journey, okay? It's a journey of healing. We're all learning. Uh, mm, but it's a process of just checking in with someone of like, hey, what I'm about to say is not going to be like uplifting and it's rather dark. And I just feel like talking about it's going to help. Because one of the things when I was starting my healing journey in that, one of my coaches told me, she's like, well, like, why are you ashamed to like talk about it and share it with the world? Because people need to learn this. People need to hear it because we weren't formally taught this. And also, like, your secrets hold more power over you now, but when they're exposed, you won't be afraid of anything. And that's what like switched it for me. And it doesn't mean that it wasn't scary, because I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start talking about this, start talking about the things that it led me to do when I was, in that dark space. And uh but then after I did it a few times, I'm like, I do feel better. Like, I'm not hiding anything. I don't feel like someone's going to find out because I put it out there. I told the people that it was most going to affect. And now it can be a lesson for other people.
And I think
100%.
that's where the power lies, right there. That's where the power is, where for me it was where I was able to take back the power that I had given away so much, was in that right there. Like, every day doing looking through the glass, even though I share it. But that's what I wanted. That's what
Hmm.
that was what I wanted. In that one moment, I was just feeling alone. But then, or I was feeling I didn't have just a me moment or something. I'm not quite sure. Probably a little bit of both. But um, you know, this looking through the glass, doing what we're doing right now, every episode that we record, every time we talk with somebody, every person that we meet, and every moment, every conversation that we have, it is literally healing. I mean, it is
Mm,
so healing for me. It is healing for Giselle. It is healing for you. It is healing for other people as well. And it's been one of the most amazing things that God or the universe could have placed me. It's one of the most things I'm so grateful for.
that is beautiful. And that's also a real big service to other people, because you two have created this space where you lovingly bring awareness to these issues, right? It's a
Mhm.
shame-free environment and you share your own experiences. And Giselle, I know that you had mentioned earlier that you had witnessed her going through her darkest times and you were like, I wasn't mentally there. No, you weren't in her mind, but you also had your mental, like that had a mental impact on you, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure that affected you. And
Oh yeah, I
now
did.
look at you two now. You've created this space. Like, you've been able to do a healing journey together and facilitate it for so many other people too.
Oh yeah. Well, and a lot of traumas that there is, and like from the beginning, is where we have the generational traumas that have been passed down from parents to children, and there has to be a recognition in order for it to for some to heal, and it's
Right.
also to let those people know, because I heard this from somebody else, is you can let it out to the parent. If they're not listening, it's up to you to let that go. And
Mhm.
that we somebody else told us, said something to us about it. It's like she let it out, and then and then she had to make a decision on whether she was gonna, now that it was out in the air, if she was gonna let it go or if she was gonna continue to hold on to it and lose a relationship. And we have to learn that too. But with us, she's opened up to her healing and has goes, no, this is your truth. You're allowed to speak your truth. You're allowed to, and you can speak it in front of me and not feel shameful about it. And that's where it really touched me, was because for so long, I didn't feel heard. I wasn't heard. And
Mm.
so finally being able to, my mom, the one person I wanted to hear me, is now actually hearing me.
I got shivers during
You
that.
make me
Thank you so
cry.
much for sharing that. And I just love that you two are at that space, right? Because it
Yeah.
is, it's recognizing that the people you are around are impacted by your chaos, your emotions, your addictions, whatever they may be, right? And that's part of what needs to be recognized when you're in the healing journey. Like, first, it starts with you, yourself, because you're like, okay, well, I got to dig and get a lot of this shit out because
Mhm.
if I can't hold space for the people that I've pushed away or rejected, whatever it may be, then it's not going to create for an authentic, re-relating or um, transition moment between that relationship, right? And so I love the fact that now you two hold that space of like, no, I want to hear your truth, whatever it is. Like, if that's how you felt or what you thought during those times, that's true. Because you can only meet people where they're at in their healing journey. And so if you have a parent or another family member or significant other who isn't willing to hear you, it's not maybe not necessarily that they don't want to, it's just that they're not at a space where they can comprehend that level of healing. And then that leaves you with the decisions of, okay, well, meeting them where they're at, is that helpful for you? Is that a disservice? What does that mean for you? And then that opens up a whole realm of other decisions.
It really does. And sometimes it's some of the hardest decisions you're ever going to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because anyone you love, walking away from a relationship, no matter what it is, friends, family, romantic, it's not easy, right?
And then you have to learn how to cope over that.
Yeah, and then you have that grieving process of letting that go. And grief is another thing that we don't talk about how to get through, right? And we think that just like verbally talking about it is the only way, but there are so many different avenues to purge and work through emotions, right? Like talking is definitely helpful because it's putting your voice back, right? So you're taking your power back from being silent. I recently saw a quote that was like, if you don't speak up, like, oh, people think that silence is power, but really that is acceptance because you're not saying anything. So you're just choosing to accept whatever's happening. But to take your power back or to even show up with power is to speak your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions.
Yeah, that's definitely. I like that.
That was beautifully
So
put.
you say that there's. I'm sorry, what you said?
I said that was beautifully put.
Yes, it is
Thank
beautifully
you.
put. Uh, I forgot what I was gonna say.
I'm I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll take the blame on that one.
Oh,
And my brain went blank too.
well, I was saying that there are other ways that you can
Yes, there
work
was other
through.
ways. Thank you. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, there's other. You were saying that there was other ways to help process these traumas and these things, and what are those other ways that you know of? Like, because you've definitely dived into multiple different ways. So,
Yeah,
can
so when I
we?
was going through my healing journey, I knew that I was depressed, scared to talk about it because, as we've already said, that's a level of shame and stigma that you don't want to share with people. Um, and I was working in corporate entertainment, so it wasn't like I felt like I had a community where I could tell because I for sure wasn't going to tell my colleagues.
Yeah,
Um, and so I started. asking myself, okay, what do I know that I like to do or like have liked in the past? And one of those things that came up for me was yoga, because like when I was in grad school, I developed um, a yoga practice where I would go and do 2 hot yoga sessions a week at this local studio by my school. And once I finished school and moved to a different part of the city, I just never looked for another yoga studio. And so when I was in that dark place, I was like, well, I know that yoga really helped and it impacted my mood. So maybe I will start there. And that helped me move the body. And as I got deeper into my yoga practice, I would hold poses and like I would have memories come up, like because your body does hold emotions. It does keep things in that you haven't processed. So when you're in poses like pigeon pose and you're working on your hips, like if you have like sexual trauma can be stored there as
Mm-hmm.
well as guilt and shame. So if you know that you've been holding those emotions, like you might have a unconscious resistance to hip opening poses and not know why. And so I was not a fan of pigeon pose, so I was like, okay, well obviously I need to do this cuz like my body feels good when it's done. I just don't like it in the moment, and I would start crying and I'd remember things that I did and I'm like, or things that happened to me and I'm like, oh, I forgot about this. And it was to the point where I had a journal by my yoga mat at home. And I would just
Mm-hmm.
stop whatever pose I was in and just journal those those things that came up. And then I would get back into my yoga practice. So movement is one. It doesn't have to be yoga. It can also be, walking, lifting weights, going to the gym and working out. Um,
Yoga
and
is one of the ones that we've heard, especially for trauma, how being
mhm,
held in the body, that yoga and yoga posing poses is one of the best ways to release those held, unremembered traumas. And
mhm.
so that is something that I definitely like have been really wanting to get into.
And there are a lot of trauma informed yoga classes as well as yoga training programs. Because once,
Hmm.
like, first I did a teacher training program, and then when I started to just like uncover more of my traumas, I was like, okay, there's gotta be a trauma informed format that I can work with. Because chances are, like other people have been feeling this too. So then I got a certification for trauma informed yoga. So it's definitely out there. And it's very similar stories of people struggling with some sort of addiction. And then when they find yoga, like the first several times they do it, they're just crying and just wailing, right?
I think I'm resisting it. I think I'm doing one of those I'm resisting it right now because I'm just like, I know that there's a lot stored, you know? And so it's one of those things I know I need to get back into it, like you were saying earlier.
Well, and when you're ready for it, right, like it'll come. So
Hmm.
it's just like, okay, when I feel ready, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna walk in a yoga studio or I'm gonna find a yoga video on YouTube or something and start there, right?
Hmm.
Um, but the fact that you're like, okay, it's on your list, that's already huge. Because so many people don't even want to put it on their list, right? Because
No, it is definitely on my list because I know that there's stuff being stored there. I know that there's stuff prior to memory. There's dreams. There's things
Mhm.
that so I know I can feel it. Like I can feel it. It's just like I'm not there just yet. I will be there. I'm getting there.
Right.
Like and when the time is right for me, I'll get the nudge. I'll know. but it's
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
it is on my on that planner. It is on that planner of doing the yoga. And then my sister-in-law swears by this, by the chair yoga and chair tai chi, because she was extremely overweight. She's lost over 110 pounds just doing
Wow.
chair yoga and chair tai chi.
Good
Like,
for her.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? Like, you're still sitting and you're doing, but it made, and she was in a really bad car accident, and it pulled all of her vertebrae back where they, like, where they're supposed to
Wow.
be, just doing chair yoga and chair tai chi classes. Like, she swears by them. She just had a knee replacement done, and literally her very first appointment to the doctor, she's already doing ranges way further than what she should be doing, because she's been doing and releasing all these traumas and doing so. Now her body is functioning the way it's supposed to.
That's amazing. See,
Yeah.
and that's the power of connecting with your body, right? Because first we got to get online with our emotions and really face like our cognitive, mess that we have up there. And then it's okay, let's bring the body back online and then connect the two, right?
Hmm.
And so movement can help. Um, Reiki is also it's a form of energy work, which it is designed to help identify where there are stagnant areas in the body, like what energy centers are moving at a different rate than others. Maybe there are some blockages happening. Uh, and so having that done for you can also help connect your energetic body as well. And then there are times when memories come up, like it's one of the things that I do for people. So some people will have childhood memories come in. Some people will, remember a dream that they had and then be in the dream again during their session, right? Um, I've also had sometimes past lives have come up for people where they'll come out and tell me these things and I'm like, "Are you aware that this is like a different time period that you're telling me about?" They're like, "Yeah, I think I was that person." I'm like,
Hmm.
"I think that's a good place to start. I think that's a good bet." And sound therapy, music therapy can be really beneficial as well because I think we can all connect to knowing that music has an impact on our mood, right? Like there's a reason your favorite song is your favorite song. You can also probably remember the first time you heard it and the feelings it inspired for you. So a sound when you're using things like crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls, gongs, didgeridoos, they all are able to resonate different parts of the body. And I like to say that the sound goes to where it's needed most in your body because when we're holding something, whether we know it or not, our body is tightening up. So it's constricting and that's becoming heavy and dense. So the sound can find that and it starts to actually vibrate. And it's a way of like massaging and loosening the muscles and the body to get it softer. So once those have been primed, then it's like the emotions are free to come up, right?
So
They're
when I do, sorry to interrupt. So
go
when I
for
do,
it.
I have my little Tibetan chings, the little bells, and I'll spin
Mhm.
them, and I can literally see, with my own eyes, I can see the energy that comes spiraling out of them.
Ooh.
Like, I can literally see it. But what I'll do is, especially when I'm really having anger, when I'm feeling a
Mhm.
lot of anger, and I'm not sure why it, which a lot of emotions tend to go to anger to me because I'm still learning things. But I'll ding them and I'll spin them above me, and I'll just go all over my body with them, and I'll feel different tingling and stuff. So, like, am I doing that right? Like, because
Yeah. Wha
that was like the, because I don't, I was just like, I feel like, and I was like feeling, especially with the head injury, I was like, I wonder, and I could feel it just go through. So, and then I can, like, you can, I don't, it is the weirdest thing. I know people, a lot of people be like, oh, you can't see it. No, you can see the energy coming out of these bowls and these bells, you can see them. But that's what I'll do when I'm having a really tense moment, or I'm feeling myself, my body go into a chaotic moment. I'll take my
Mm-hmm.
little chiming bells and I'll just do them, and I'll just, roll them and ting and just move it all over my body and stuff. And I love it. This is the best feeling in the world. Sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
no, that's great. I love that. And I love that you have that practice for yourself and have noticed that it does shift, because that is the power of sound and vibration. So, a good quote that I really love about energy and vibration comes from Nicholas Tesla. And I'm not looking at it right now, but paraphrasing it, it's something to the effect of, if you desire to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration, and
And
energy.
number. Yeah. And yeah.
Because
Nicholas,
everything is energy. So it's even our thoughts and emotions hold an energetic charge. So when you
yes.
use chimes, like, that is shifting your frequency. So it's taking you out of that anger state and putting you into a different state, right?
Yeah, no, it absolutely calms me. It calms me. I can feel it. Almost feel it's not like little ticks and prickles. It's more like a tickle.
Mhm.
It feels more like a tickle throughout over wherever it is that I'm feeling, and I'll feel it in all different sorts of parts of my body, but I'll just move it, and then when I feel a little bit of a tickle, I'll just stay in that one spot, and I'll go over it more and more and more. I do over my head more than anything because of the head injury. So, like, if I'm
Mhm.
feeling cloudy headed or angry because my emotional regulator was messed up, I just come in and I do that, and I'll just hold it, and I'll feel of the tingle in my head so strong. And it is one of the weirdest, like, wow, the simplest thing you would never think, but it has such a huge, profound, what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
Effect,
effect.
impact.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
impact. Yes, both.
Yeah, and that's something that it's kind of strange, because I feel like modern science is catching up, and have been, like, the last 5 years they've been doing a lot of scientific studies on the benefits of sound therapy and music
Yeah, the
therapy.
frequency
Yeah.
therapy, and yeah,
Uh, and yet sound healing has been around for thousands of years.
since
It
before the Egyptians.
Yeah, 40,000 years. It originated in Australia, where they were using, then it was only the didgeridoo, and they were using it to help people with their physical
Ailments.
and mental ailments.
Yep.
So it's like 40,000 years ago, we knew as a species that sound and vibration was healing and could correct not only physical ailments but also mental ailments. And now our
Or
science,
spiritual elements that they would claim it to be at back then.
right,
Yeah.
and now our science, modern science, is catching up to that. Like,
Right?
Right? It's
there
kind of
was an
like,
innate knowing. Yeah.
yes. Yes. Well, there's an innate knowing on energy, our energy fields, because when we get stressed, what do? We go like this. Well, what is one of the ways to deal with stress when you're super stressed out to help your mind is the
Mhm.
temple
A little
rub.
temple massage, yep.
Yes. That's one of the best ways to get your, yeah,
Or even the back
exactly.
of the neck, yep.
Yep. And that, what do? We go, or we go,
Mhm.
So it is innate in our bodies. We just don't recognize and haven't been taught that our natural response of when you take that sigh and put your hand on your head, you're putting each finger on. So you need to rub those temples because it helps teach your
Mhm.
body how to handle stress, you
You're right.
know?
And even just like rubbing the temples, being like, I'm okay, it's
Hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I acknowledge I'm stressed. This is uncomfortable. I'm still alive. I'm gonna get through it, right? So you
Yeah.
can use it as a time to also start working with your nervous system of saying those things that you want to hear from somebody else, but maybe someone else isn't there. Or so be that someone else for yourself. Like, rem- it's more powerful to hear it in your own voice, even if it doesn't feel believable at that time. Because the more that you keep saying it and keep hearing it in your own voice, at a certain point, you're going to believe it.
Yeah.
So, so that's just like a little psychological trick that we have to do at the beginning of like, I don't feel like everything's okay. And to you, it might not be, but if you just keep reminding yourself, it's okay because I'm alive, or it's okay because historically I've gotten through everything that I've been through at this point, right? So if I faced all that, I can face this.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
Exactly.
I love that. Thank you, Catherine.
So you
Thank
offer
you.
services, correct?
I do, yes.
So would you like to tell our listeners what services you offer and where they can find you if they
Yes.
are in wanting or in a need?
Yeah. So I offer Reiki sessions, sound healing, emotional support work, and then I have a method called the neuroresonance method, which is a combination of really all the things that we talked about. Um, Working with the mind using cognitive behavioral therapeutic techniques, Reiki, and sound healing to really target all of the emotions, the thought patterns, and where they're living in the body, right? So we're focusing on it in three different ways to really help move through it and to, like, in a sense, accelerate the healing process. So I do all of that in person and virtually. So if you're in the San Diego area, I have a space in Oceanside. And, um,
Beautiful area.
huh?
Beautiful area.
It is. I love that area. Obviously, as I'm here, and and otherwise, you can find me virtually. So I have a website, Eipl Healing, EIPL Healing.com. And on there, all of my services are listed. You can book right on my website. You can also reach out to me on the contact page. My phone number and email are listed. So if you have questions and kind of want to talk about where you're at and figure out what would be best for you at that time, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to have these conversations. I think they're all really important because if you don't know what Reiki and sound therapy are and you're brand new, like, you probably have questions. So please reach out. And if you go to my website, you can join my emailing list and you'll receive a free neuroresonance session that you can book at a time that feels good for your schedule.
Ooh, that
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh.
You're like, ooh, maybe I'll sign up for that.
Yeah, I'm like, no, seriously, because I honestly feel that it is something like I'm in cognitive behavioral therapy right now.
Okay.
Um, that is so I'm still learning. And it has been extremely helpful. I love my therapist; she's fantastic. But I know I need more. I know I need
Mm-hmm.
more. Like I just know. I know that it's going to take more things than just that. And Reiki energy healing is one of the things. You know, I these seizures. Yeah, part of it is from brain injury, but part of it is trauma. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it is because when I talk about my trauma, I'll start to shiver. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I know that part of it, part of it is the brain injury, but I believe that they could go away if I get the trauma part covered. If I heal that part, then yeah, the seizures I may never be fully, fully free of them, but the my tolerance levels, or my seizure tolerance levels, will be able to rise, compared to where they are right now. In the threshold, they're pretty low. Like the bar is pretty low. I'm working, but I'm working. So I know that I'm going to need more help than just the cognitive behavior. Like I know that there's more to it.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that once you work on the traumas, like you're saying, those seizures are going to minimize and lessen dramatically.
Yes, they absolutely will. I fought it for a long time. I refused to believe, but I had to understand that it was not just my body having the seizures because of the trauma. It was the brain injury with the trauma mixed, combined, was why. But it was like, to me, for the longest time, it was like, I'm weak. That's weak. I'm not having seizures just because I was abused. I'm not having seizures just because of that. No, absolutely. And it's like something that I've recently just been okay with. Like I've recently accepted, because I'm like, no, every time I start to tell my story or this and that, I'm noticing that I'm shiver, shiver, shiver. And the shiver is pre seizure. So, and
Mm,
whenever there's a body reaction, that's the one thing that I've been really, really hard on myself, is if there is a body reaction, you must recognize it, acknowledge it, and see where it fits. That's,
right. Have you
but
heard of the book The Body Keeps the Score?
I absolutely, my neurologist app made my husband get it for me for Mother's Day as an audible. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I have not been, and I'm calling myself out on this. I've not listened to it like I should been, because my other daughter reads to me, and that's kind of our special time together.
Oh,
Like,
that's sweet.
yeah, but I do need, thank you for reminding me. I do need to get back onto that because it will help me more and more.
The reason that I brought it up is because it is talking about what about how your body stores traumas and how your body then creates a physiological response to that trauma, right? Um, so it's just a really good book. Is Makes a lot of good connections. So if maybe that was the sign and I was just told to say
Yeah,
it so
I
that
think
you
it
can.
was. I get that.
That was totally a sign.
The universe loves to call me out on looking through the glass, and I'm okay with that. Because,
I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just
go
gonna
ahead.
say one of the things that me and one of my other friends, who's also a coach, we like to say it's calling you forth. Like instead of calling you out, like you're being called forward because you're acknowledging
Yes.
something that you do want to work on, and maybe you were or still are, and it's a way to check of okay, yeah, there's still some residual stuff in there. Time to clear that out.
I like that, calling you forth, than calling you out. I like that much better, because it is more fitting. It is more fitting because it's just calling me, making me go, okay, no, I need to do it. Like we had a guest on here, and literally because there was a ding in the conversation, I went, okay. And he was like, well, Sela, if you walk, like I was, when during walking, I was told if I were to be, because I was walking like this, it was causing more pain in the body. Maybe if you walk like this. So what do you hear me do? I'm out there walking in my driveway, up and down my driveway, walking different, because there was a ding in that conversation, because I was like, no, that's the universe telling me. There was
Mhm.
100, that's the universe telling me, hey, Sela, walk, movement, movement. And I've been saying, I just need movement, you know?
Yeah. The universe has a way of talking to us and we just have to be able to listen.
It does not have its own mouth to use the words, so it will use other ways and other people, for
Mhm.
sure.
Absolutely.
It really likes, and it works in funny ways. It comes
Yeah,
out in
well,
the strangest times.
what would healing be without a little bit of irony and dark humor, So
That's what
Exactly.
makes that's what gives it the yeah part.
yeah, where you're like, of course. Of course it
Uh-huh.
is.
Absolutely. Well, Kathryn, this was absolutely wonderful, and I thank you for coming on to Looking Through the Glass. I believe that you probably will be getting an email from me. Um,
I look forward to
yes.
it.
For our listeners out there, you definitely check Kathryn Eipl's website out. And we want to thank you for looking into the glass. If you have a story that you would like to share, if you would like to stay anonymous, we are perfectly fine with that. We understand, even though your name may not be attached to the story, your story still holds power and it can help others. You can contact us at 12 look in through THRU 34 the glass at gmail.com, or you can contact us with our TikTok is Looking Through the Glass the same way, or our Facebook, which is Looking Through the Glass spelled the correct way. Giselle, is there anything you needed to add?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't have to
Well,
cover it. I'm good.
Kathryn, thank you again. We greatly appreciate you, and this was fantastic. Thanks for looking through the glass, you guys.
Thank you.